Okay, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I guess a video's worth 1,000,000 words or so because it's portrayed much easier through video. So anyway, here's the question: is how can I increase the resolution and of a photo that's low resolution to high resolution? And initially, when I saw that question, I answered, "You can't. It's not going to work." And then someone brought up the point that, well, yes, you can. If it's a larger picture than what you need the final output to be, then you can, and that's so very true. And just I'm so used to bringing in people's stuff that is smaller than what you need and trying to make it larger than what you need. So anyway, right to it. Here we go. Okay, first of all, you got to understand pixels. What are pixels? Pixels are tiny little squares. Okay. When you hear DPI, that's dots per inch. PPI is pixels per inch. LPI is lines per inch, which deals with printing. So I'm gonna talk about PPI because that's pixels per inch, even though really we call it DPI in most software. All right, so I'm gonna zoom way in here, and you're gonna see that, well, from the start, this looks like a pretty high definition, clear quality photo. Now let me tell you, this photo is only at 72 DPI, taken from a very old camera I just used right now. It's a Fuji FinePix S5100. It's like, I mean, it's 4 megapixels, but it takes pretty good pictures. Okay, as I zoom in, it still looks pretty good, right? Still not too bad. Starting to look like web resolution, but as you zoom way in, and that's the maximum amount that I can zoom in here with this photo viewer anyway, you start to see these pixels, right? So this diagonal line is actually a stair step of pixels. And I'll zoom back out a little bit just to give you an idea of what that turns into. So you're looking at that, you can see, like, say this is the eye of my dog here. We're getting in there, and all those little variations of colors are really just little pixels side by side. All right. So if we take that over into Photoshop and we look at the image size, this is where we can actually change the size of the image. All right. So if we look in pixel dimensions, right here it's 2272 by 1704. If we look at the document size here, that's going to give us our imperial version of that in real measurement is inches here. So we got 31.556 by 23.667, and everybody's like, why would it come in some crazy size like that? Well, in proportion, that comes down to, say like a 9 by 12 or something that you want to deal with. So keeping those proportions right here, we're going to constrain proportions. When you see my resolution is only at 72, my document size is only 11 megabytes. Pretty small file size for a large image. But what we want to do is say we want this to be print quality. We got to change it to 300 DPI, which is or your resolution pixels per inch, as you see there. 300 is kind of the standard for printing. So change that, and now you can see that went up from 11 megabytes to 192.3 megabytes. Now I'm still at the same exact size here, so that's 300 on my resolution, but my size is still the same. Let's bring this down to like a 9 by 12. Oops, wrong dimension. All right, so 12 by 9, and you can see that when constraining the proportions, it automatically changes that down for me. So all I had to do was enter my 12 for the width. All right, now I can see it's dropped down to 27.8. I've got 3,600 pixels wide by 2,700 pixels high. I'm at 300 on my resolution pixels per inch, and I'm going to say OK, and it's going to resample this. Now there are different ways that it can resample this here, and that just has to do with how it arranges the colors in each of those pixels as it's splitting those up, or to compress it down. So here we go. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to put it in actual pixels, and you can see it still looks pretty good, right? Now I'm going to go in here, and it's going to be the same effect. You still got this stair stepping. It's just that there's more dots, more pixels in here. So in this, if I were to draw a square here, at 72 DPI, there would be less pixels in here. At 300 DPI, there are more pixels within this image. So I hope that helps. I hope that explains what you were looking at. And it's a great point that I can't remember who it was that brought that up in the group that we were discussing this in. But often when you bring in an image from a photograph from your camera, it is very often a very large dimension and a low resolution. So you got to convert that unless you're dealing with raw data and stuff like that. So anyway, common question, and I hope that helps to explain pixels and why you can increase the resolution of an oversized image. And I didn't really explain why you can't on a smaller image, but if you want a quick explanation of that, if you zoom in here, and we did that drawing squares thing, all it's going to do is, if you look at, let's say, this square right here, that's 3 by 3 pixels by 3 pixels. If I double my resolution and make this from say 150 to 300, all it's going to do is it's going to divide each one of these squares in half. So it's just going to put double the amount of squares inside of this same area. So it's going to split this one into 4, actually, 4 there, 4 there. So you're gonna end up with more squares, more pixels per inch, but the information is still going to be the same. So what's going to happen is that you're going to go from a large stair step of information to just a split up stair step of information. So hopefully that explains it. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you more, but hopefully that helps.